Hi, my name's Emily and welcome to Sweet Creek Patterns. In today's video, I'm so excited to be sharing how to crochet this quick and easy and beautiful granny square. So you can see it has like a little daisy flower and then it's like a granny square stitch. And this is actually a super easy little granny square to make. And if you're interested in making a larger blanket size, I have a free tutorial for how to crochet this beautiful blanket. So I did this blanket, I did the border, I showed you how to make the border and all of that stuff in I believe it was 2 weeks ago's video. So make sure to check out that YouTube tutorial. It's completely free and I'll show you how to make the blanket. And then also I have a free blog post for how to make the blanket as well. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that if you prefer written instructions, or if you prefer to have the video and written instructions up while you're making these granny squares, I will have the free blog post for how to make these granny squares as well. So you can see here are some different granny squares that I have made. All just really fun. There's so many different color options and the opportunities for these granny squares are endless. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. One last thing I want to mention before we jump in is that if at any point in this video I'm either talking too fast or too slow for you, you can always adjust the playback speed by clicking the little settings gear icon in the bottom right corner of the video, then click playback speed, and then you can adjust so I either talk faster or slower, depending on whether you're more advanced or beginner crocheter. And so let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. So the supplies I'm using today is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I personally love Clover Moore crochet hooks, and I'll link everything I'm using in the description box down below. Then of course you'll need scissors to cut your yarn. You'll need a darning needle, and I in particular love metal darning needles. They are so much better than plastic darning needles, so I'll put a link in the description box down below to my favorite darning needle again. And then the yarns I'll be using, you can use any number 4 worsted weight yarn for this project, but I personally used I Love This yarn in the color Antique White, and I then also used Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek in the color Wheat, and it's this really pretty gold color. It turned out so stunning. And then I also used Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek in the color Blush. You can see it there. So that's Blush, and for the baby blanket size, I used 3 balls of this, 4 balls of this, and less than a half a ball of this. I've made 2 baby blankets so far, and this is the yarn I have left after that. So that is the yarns that you will need. And so to begin, what we're going to do is we're going to start by making the center. So let me show you a granny square. So this is what they look like when they're done. And we're going to start by making the center. We're going to do the petals, then we're going to do the granny square part, and then we're going to do the little border around it. So that is what the process will be like. So we're going to first start with the gold color of your choice, and I'm going to be using the Wheat color. And I'm just going to grab the tail, there we go. And what we're going to do is to begin, we're going to start by making a magic circle. Now, if you struggle to make magic circles, if you're a beginner crocheter, you can also like chain about 2, then slip stitch to join in to the first chain, and you'll have a same little loop to work into. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a magic ring. So put the yarn at the base of your hand, then you're going to wrap around going to the front, then wrap around going to the back, like that. So you have like a little X shape. Then you're going to flip your hand over. You're going to go under the back loop with your hook and grab the second loop. Then you're going to pull up. You're going to take these 2 fingers and pinch, and then let go. Okay. And now we are going to put your fingers into that hole so as not to lose it, because if you were to take your fingers out, it literally would become nothing. So again, to make the magic circle, put the put the yarn at the base of your fingers, wrap around to the front, wrap around toward the back, flip over, go under the first loop and grab the second loop. Pull that through, pinch using your fingers, take your other finger out, and now you're going to hold your fingers. I like to hold 2 fingers in that circle. Now you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and that will lock your circle. So now you can you have your nice circle. And now what we're going to do is you're going to half double crochet 9 into this magic ring. So you're going to insert yarn over and insert your hook, and you're going to be going into the loop and also around that tail. So I just like to hold my loop and tail together. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So yarn over, inserting, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to repeat that. You'll have 9 stitches. So do 9 half double crochets into this magic circle. So remember, just yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So 1, 2, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Now you're just going to grab on this tail that you've been working over, and you're just going to pull on that, and it's going to cinch nice and shut. And you can leave it like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to begin round number 2. So for round number 2, you're going to to finish off round number 1 and start round number 2, you're going to insert your hook into the top of the first half double crochet. So you can see there's my first half double crochet. You can insert my hook into the top of that. You're going to go ahead and cut your gold yarn like that. And you're going to grab your next color of yarn. So for me, I'm going to do the opposite of this. I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to do this because I think it'll show up better on camera. So I'm going to grab my white yarn, and you're going to, so we inserted our hook into the top of that first stitch, and now you're going to using your white yarn, you're going to yarn over, so put the yarn over your hook, pull through the top of that stitch, and then pull through loop on your hook. So basically you just did a slip stitch while changing your colors. So now that we finished that slip stitch and now we have the new color on our hook, what we're going to do is we are going to begin round 2. So to begin round 2, you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and we're going to do puff stitches. So that's what these are. So let me show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to make 5 double crochets into the first stitch. Now, when you turn, this looks like it's the first stitch, but it's actually just the slip stitch that we just did. So I prefer not to work into that slip stitch, and I just work into that first real stitch. So I'm just going to yarn over, insert into that first real stitch, not the slip stitch, the first real stitch. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now you're going to just do that 4 more times into the same stitch. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we have 2 double crochets, and you're going to repeat that for a total of 5 double crochets into that one stitch. Okay, so you can see I have my 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And all you're going to do is you're going to insert your hook into the top of the first double crochet, so those under those 2 loops, and then you're going to grab your loop and pull through. So let me show you how to do that one more time because I don't feel like I was the most clear. So you can see I have my 5 double crochets done, and once you have those 5 done, you're just going to pull up your loop a little bit. Okay, And then you're going to go to the first double crochet, and you're going to put your hook under that, and then you're going to put your hook through the loop and then pull through. Okay? And now that's going to be popping out to the side that we're not working on. So it's going to be, technically, it looks like it's the wrong side from our work right now, but in the end it's going to be the right side, because you can see these half double crochets are on the right side. So when we did this, we turned and we're working like this basically. And so then after the end of this row, we'll turn again and we'll be working on the front side. So now you're just going to continue that for all 9 half double crochets. Once you finish that puff stitch though, you're going to chain 1. Okay, so all you're going to do is now you're going to do 5 double crochets into the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and once you finish that, like I just did, you pull up your loop a little bit. You find the first double crochet, which is right here. You can see there's the first double crochet. So you're going to insert your hook into the top of the first double crochet, then insert your hook through the loop and pull through, and then chain 1. And you're just going to repeat that around. So double crochet 5, then make that into a puff stitch, and then chain 1. And just repeat that around, and I will meet you back after I finish these 9 petals, and we'll continue on together. Alright, so you can see that I have done 8 puff stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I just finished this puff stitch. I did my chain 1, and there's one last stitch right there. And it's kind of easy to miss, but you want to make sure you go into there. And so you're going to do your same 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, there you go, 4 and 5. Okay, and now you're going to go through the first stitch, go through the loop, pull through, and chain 1. So now that we did our chain 1, we have completed that puff stitch, and now we have officially 9 puff stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now what we're going to do is you're going to insert your hook into the top of the first puff stitch. So you can see I have this little stitch right here that looks like that's the top of the puff stitch, and that's where I'm going to insert my hook into. Now if you can't find this on yours, just insert your hook into somewhere in the top of that first puff stitch. So for me, mine looks like that. Go ahead and snip your yarn. And now we're going to change colors to the color that we're going to use for the granny square. So for this case, obviously it's opposite. In this case, it's going to be pink. Okay, so we went ahead, cut our yarn, and we have our hook insert into the top of the first puff stitch. Okay, so now we're going to grab the pink yarn, or whatever yarn you're using, and we're going to begin the granny square part. So this is round 3. You're going to go ahead and lay your yarn over your hook, your new yarn. Go ahead and pull through and pull through. So basically we just finished a slip stitch. Now we have our new yarn on the hook. So now you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to double crochet into the top of the first puff stitch. So you can see that this is the first stitch is where we actually just made our slip stitch. Okay, so if you look back, oh, that's this place where we made our slip stitch. So you're going to just, if you pull on this white strand of yarn, it'll close that up so you don't even get confused at all. Okay, so you're not going to go into there, and instead you're going to go into the top of the first puff stitch. So you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into the top, and you're going to have to find a little, wiggle a little bit, and you'll find the top area. It kind of feels like you're working into like around a bigger spot than just the top of a stitch would normally be. So you're going to, so yarn over, insert into the top of the puff stitch. So you can see there's my puff stitch. It has all of the stitches. Insert into the top of that puff stitch. and kind of find a stitch that will work. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that's a double crochet. And now we're going to go between the puff stitches. So we're going to double crochet between the puff stitches. So you're going to yarn over, go, you can see here's puff stitch 1 and puff stitch 2. And right between it, there's like this hole. And you're going to go through the hole. So you're going to insert your hook into that hole, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we have 2 double crochets, and now you're going to go through the top of the next puff stitch. So you're going to do a double crochet into the top of the next puff stitch. You can see there's our stitches. You're going to insert your hook into that center of the top and then kind of go through the back. And now you're going to make a double crochet, okay? So now we have 3 double crochets, and the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So the first, I'm not counting that chain 2 as a stitch. It's just 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. And now what we're going to do is the next place that we're going to work into is we're going to work into the hole right here where my fingernail is, okay? And we're going to, when we're working through the hole, you're going to make a corner granny square stitch. So basically all that means is you are going to do 3 double crochets into this one place, then you're going to chain 1 and do 3 more double crochets into here. So basically 6 double crochets and a chain 1 all into this space right here, okay? So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. Now we're going to make 2 more. 1, so that's 2, and then this is 3. So now we have 3 double crochet. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to do 3 more double crochets into that same space. Okay? 1, 2, and 3. So now at this point we have the first 3 stitches, and then we have this little corner area where we did 3 double crochets, a chain 1, and 3 more double crochets all into that same space. Okay? And if you look here, this is exactly how it will look in the end. So you have those 3, then we did that corner, and now we're going to do 3 more double crochets just like we did to begin before we hit the corner. So you're going to go ahead and double crochet into the top of the puff stitch that's right here. So we worked between the puff stitches. Now we're going to work into the top of the puff stitch. Okay, and then, so we made a double crochet there. Now you're going to make a double crochet between the 2 puff stitches, right there in that hole. And then you're going to make a double crochet into the top of the next puff stitch. So there we go. So we have the 3, the corner, and then 3 more. And now we're going to do another corner. So you can see we just worked into the top, so now we're going to work into the between the 2 puff stitches, and we're going to do a corner stitch. So we're going to do the 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets all into that one space, making sure to go through the hole and not through any other stitches. So there we go. And you're just going to repeat this. So you're going to be working into the top of each puff stitch and into the, in between each puff stitch. So working into the top and between each puff stitch, you're going to, so now the next repeat, we're going to do working 1 double crochet into the top, 1 double crochet into between the puff stitches, and then 1 double crochet in the top, and then we're going to do another corner. And then you're just going to repeat that. So 1 double crochet in the top, 1 double crochet in the chain space, and then 1 double crochet in the top, and then the corner. So you're just going to repeat that, and I will meet you back. Alright, so this is how my granny square is looking, and since I just ended the video, or paused the video, I just did those 3, so into the top of the puff stitch, into between the puff stitch, and then into the top of the puff stitch. And now I'm going to do the last corner. So you want in the end to have 4 corners, obviously. So 1, 2, 3, and then this is going to be the 4th corner. So we're just going to do our same repeat of 3 double crochets, then chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets, all into the space between the puff stitches. So all your corners will be into the spaces between the puff stitches, and then when you're not doing the corners, you'll work into the top, the between the puff stitch, and then into the top. So that's just kind of the repeat that you can memorize as you're making these granny squares. And I apologize if at any point in this video my voice sounds really hoarse and kind of raspy. I am currently recovering from COVID, and so I feel like my voice, making this video is testing my voice. So I apologize for kind of my raspy voice. So we just finished round number 4, and it looks like we have 1 stitch left to work, and that is true, but we are not going to work into that top of the puff stitch. We're just going to slip stitch. So let me explain. If I were to write the pattern as doing 8 puff stitches instead of 9, it would work exactly perfectly, but I found that I liked the odd number of petals, and so I like 9 petals. So if you wanted to, you could do 8 petals, and then you could do the exact same thing, and you would not have the top of that 1 puff stitch that you'd have to skip. But in my opinion, it just makes it much more, I think it's much more pretty with having 9 petals. So that's just my, as I was designing this, that's my design choice. So we're not going to work into that top of the puff stitch or into the, like, anything here. We're just going to slip stitch to join. Okay, so little recap. We did the 3 stitches, the corner, 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 and now we're not going to do any more stitches after the corner. You're just going to slip stitch to join. Let me move that. There we go. So after this corner, you're not going to do any more after this corner, you're not going to do any more stitches. You're just going to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch. So I'm going to put here we go. So we just finished the corner. Now you're going to slip stitch to the top of the stitch. And yes, you are skipping that top of the puff stitch and anything in between, but we're not going to go into there. Okay, so make a slip stitch into the top of the stitch. You're going to chain 2, and all you're going to do is you're going to basically do the granny stitch, okay, the granny cluster. The only difference is between each granny cluster of 3 double crochets, you're not going to chain 1. So let me explain. So we just chained 2, and now what we're going to do is, you can see, if I zoom in close, okay, you can see that we have the first 3 stitches, the first 3 double crochets. So there's 1 double crochet, there's 2 double crochet, and there's 3 double crochet, and you can count that on the top, 1, 2, and 3. And between the 3rd and the beginning of this corner, we're going to separate there, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into there. So 1, 2, and 3. And so this is how it will look. You'll see the chain, and then you'll see that we're working right into there. So we skipped 3 stitches, and between the 3rd and the 4th stitch, we did 3 double crochet. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to skip another 3 stitches, and this time it lands us between in the corner area, right? So 3, chain 1, and then 3. So this time we're going to do another corner granny stitch. So we did those 3. Now you're going to do 3 double crochets into the space, into that hole. So 1 into that chain hole. So 1, 2, 3. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to do 3 more double crochets into the corner. So when I say that we do not do any chains between the granny clusters, I mean that except for the corners. So little recap so far. We skipped 3 stitches, did a double crochet cluster or 3 double crochets. We skipped another 3 stitches. We did a double crochet cluster, a chain 1, and another double crochet cluster all into that same space because that's the corner space. Now we're going to count another 3 stitches. So you want to make sure you count carefully. 1, 2, and 3 stitches, and then between the 3rd and 4th, you're going to separate and you're going to work into the space. So you're not going to work into the top of the stitches, you're going to work into the space because that looks more neat when you're done. It looks more neat and clean. So 2 and 3. So now we've done the corner and we skipped 3 stitches and we just did a cluster. Now you're going to skip another 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, do another cluster into that space. By this point you should be getting the idea. So you skip 3 stitches, you do a cluster, which is just 3 double crochets, then you skip another 3 stitches, you do a cluster, and then when you get to the corners, you're simply just going to do 3 double crochet, chain 1, and 3 double crochet. So let me zoom in on this. There we go. So you can see that is just the repeat. So now I'm coming up on the corner. So 1, 2, 3, skip 3 stitches. And in the corner, you're going to do the same thing that we did before. So 3 double crochet, then a chain 1, and then 3 more double crochet all into that same corner space. So now you're just going to repeat this, and you should have 2 double crochet clusters between each corner. So 1, 2, and then you're going to have the corner, then another 2 clusters, and then the corner again. Okay, and then you're just going to repeat that, and because we only had 1 cluster before this corner when we began, we're going to have another cluster here. So just repeat that. Because we did only 1 double crochet cluster in this on this side, we're going to do another double crochet cluster when we come back. So I'm just going to go ahead, finish up round number 4, and I will meet you back. Alright, so you can see that I just am almost done with round number 4, and so I just worked into the corner, and that was corner number 4, so I've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you remember from when I just ended the video clip a second ago, I said that we had only done 1 cluster on this side, so we're going to do another cluster, and that is correct. So you can see there's 1, 2, and 3 stitches, and then between that is where we're going to go. So skip 3 stitches and go between that and make 3 double crochets just like we've always been doing. And now that we have that complete, you can see that we have, it's all corners, or everything we did on each side is uniform. So 2 clusters, then a corner, 2 clusters, then a corner, and you just did that for each of these sides, and it's looking really, really cute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the slip stitch. So insert your hook into the first stitch. You're going to go ahead and cut your yarn, and you're going to go ahead and grab your yarn that you used. I like to use the yarn that I used for my petals, but you can do the same pink color, you could even do the gold, you can do whatever you want. So, but I like to do the exact same color I did for the petals. So like that. So yeah, so I'm going to do white, and you can see so we have the hook like this, and we're going to grab the white yarn, and at this point changing colors should be pretty easy for you because we've been doing several color changes so far. So I just pulled through, and so now we did a slip stitch and we changed colors. Now what we are going to do for round number 5 is you're simply going to half double crochet in the back loop only for each stitch around. But first we're going to chain 1. So chain 1, then half double crochet in the back loop only for each stitch around. So I'm going to start here in this stitch, and I'm just going to go into the back loop only and make a half double crochet. Now, if you're wondering where the back loop only is, all you do is you look at this stitch, okay? And you can see there's the front loop, and then the back loop. And you're just going to yarn over and insert your hook, kind of going vertically, and then you're going to go to the back to grab that back loop. Let me show you that again. So you can see there's the front loop and the back loop. And normally you'd go under both loops. But this time what you're going to do is you're going to go into the back loop only. So this is the front loop. You're not going to go into there. You're going to kind of insert your hook from going down from like above. And then you're going to insert your hook down, and then you're going to kind of push it sideways. So insert going down like this, and then kind of turn your hook like that to go to the back. Like that. And that will become more and more comfortable to you, to where it's not quite so drastic of like a go in this way. It'll just become pretty natural. So you're going to half double crochet in the back loop of each stitch, and then once you come to this chain in the corner, all you're going to do is you're going to half double crochet 2, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to half double crochet 2 more into that same back loop only of the chain loop. And let me show you where I find the back loop only of the chain. So a chain is just like a regular stitch. So it has the front loop, the back loop, and then if you're being really particular, the chain also has like the back bump. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go into the back loop like for all the other stitches. So you can see there's the front loop, and then there's the back loop, and you're just going to yarn over, insert into the back loop, and then make a half double crochet, and you're going to do that one more time. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to make 2 more half double crochets into that back loop only. So now you're just going to repeat that. Half double crochet in the back loop only for each stitch, and then once you reach the corners, you're going to do 2 half double crochets, a chain 1, and then 2 more half double crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and finish round number 5, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, I just finished my 64 double crochet or half double crochets, so you should end up with 64 half double crochets. And now all you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch to the top of your first stitch. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through. That's a slip stitch. And you're going to cut your yarn and go ahead and tie off. So to tie off, all you do, let me undo my tie off real quick. So to tie off, all you do is you basically make a chain. So you yarn over, pull through, and then instead of keeping working, you're just going to pull your loop on your hook up, and it will tie it off. There you go. Thank you so much for making these beautiful crochet granny squares along with me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit that like button, and also don't forget to hit subscribe. That really helps more crocheters just like you find my YouTube channel, and it's so much fun to see more crocheters joining in this community. And then also don't forget to check out this next video all about how to block your granny squares.